Hello everybody. Alright, it's right on 2 o'clock and let's start this afternoon session. If you don't know me, my name is Jess Moody. And first of all, we're going to start with a warm-up. So get up onto your feet, stand up. Remember in the last fortnight, some of you weren't involved in these sessions, but we played an icebreaker game where you had to shake your wrists and then you had to shake your feet. So we're going to do the same thing. So you shake them 8 times each. So first of all, you do your right wrist, then your left wrist, your right foot, then your left foot, and then you go and do it again, but this time you shake your wrists and your feet only 7 times, and then you do a countdown and you shake them 6 times, then 5 times. And go down to 4 times each, then 3, then 2, and then shake it all out. And that's our brief warm-up. Okay, you can take a seat now. Today's workshop is about personal health. It's a little bit different compared to what we were talking about over the last fortnight. But I want to let you know that we are in a safe space, so please be respectful of each other. Some of the information that we'll be talking about is a little bit sensitive, so I just wanted to let you know before we get started. Our first presenter will be talking about personal health is Sarah Swilks, and I'd like to invite her up onto the stage.
Hi, thanks Jess. Okay, so as Jess said, I am Sarah Swilks, and I just wanted to quickly introduce myself before I start ahead with the presentation. So I'm Sarah. I have 2 deaf parents, so I am a coder. I have a hearing brother who is actually working as an interpreter. I'm married and I have 3 children. One is 6, one is 3, and the youngest was born 2 months ago, believe it or not. So I've got 2 girls and a boy, finally. So I work as a health and PE teacher, and normally I teach at a hearing school in Glen Waverley. I've been teaching for about 10 years now. One year I did actually work at VCD and I did really enjoy that year. I think I love teaching because I really enjoy sharing my experiences with students. When Jess asked me to come in and present to you, I came up, when she suggested the Check Yourself workshop, I thought, okay, right, what can I educate you guys about in regards to checking yourself? I wanted to talk about sexual health, sexually transmitted diseases, which are also known as STIs, and healthy relationships. I want you to also check yourself and think about the language you use and what is respectful and what is acceptable to use. So to start with, I'd like to just do a little ice-breaking activity, and we're going to talk about STIs. So you'll see the 2 dots there, one spotty and one striped. Let's just say that they've had sex and that they are people who've had sex. And then those 2 have gone on to have sex with other people. And now more people are involved, and people have had sex with different people again. So the green spots have had sex with the pink dots. And now more people are involved, and we've got the yellow line down there. So now lots of people have had sex, but remember, yellow, that line, means that people have only had sex once. And one person there has changed and become blue. Why do you think they've actually changed colour and become blue? That person actually used a condom during sex. That person was quite intelligent. and I'll explain why. The person at the beginning actually had an STI. That's quite unfortunate because they'd had sex 4 times and they said, that's all right, I've only had sex 4 times. But that could actually affect more than 4 people along the line. So if you have a look, it's affected quite a few people. Now, all of those people involved also are at risk of having that STI. And then the next line down is also at risk and also have the STI. So you can see how easily it is to spread an STI to a large number of people just from one person originally having it. So the only one who doesn't have that STI is that one at the bottom, the blue one, because that person used a condom during sex, which is quite clever. That is really important to make sure that you have safe sex. Make sure you check yourself and use protection. So if you were to meet someone and you felt that they were an important person, it's really important that you check with that person and make sure you check yourself and they check themselves as well. You might want to start a conversation and maybe you decide that you'd like to have sex sometime in the near future, and maybe you don't want to use a condom, or maybe you've got the pill and the pill is great, it can help to prevent pregnancies, but it doesn't actually prevent STIs. So if you want to have sex with somebody and don't want to use a condom, it's really important to visit your doctor. You need to get a checkup. It's important that both of you go along. You can go independently or together and have a chat with your doctor. And it's not an embarrassing process, it's really not. It's a very natural, normal experience for people to visit their doctor and have this discussion time and time again. Remember, it's really important to find out if you have anything or if you're at risk before you commence a sexual relationship. Maybe you don't have any symptoms, but you could actually have the STI without knowing. If you don't know you have the STI, it could actually impact your chances of becoming pregnant in the future and you might become sterile. I'd like to talk about intercourse, but I'd also like to talk about other things involved with sex. So there is anal and oral sex as well. So all 3 of those methods of sex, it's really important that you use protection and stay safe. So I'd like you to remember that when you go to the doctor, you don't need to be embarrassed. You may actually feel like you're a bit itchy, or you need to go to the toilet more often, or if something's wrong, you feel something's not right, go to your doctor and don't be embarrassed. Remember what I said. Think back to this actual workshop and go, you know what? I need to go and get checked. I need to see my doctor. So it's nothing to worry about. Okay, the next topic I'd like to talk about is if perhaps you're in a relationship, you need to keep a check of yourself. You also need to keep your mental health in check. It's really important to have a healthy relationship because that will impact on your mental health. So if you were to meet someone and you get along really well and you feel quite comfortable with each other, you might start to think about the next step, and you might decide to become a girlfriend and boyfriend, or a boyfriend and boyfriend, or even a girlfriend and girlfriend. You need to make sure that you have open communication and that you both know that you're in an exclusive relationship to each other. It would be awful if you found out that the other person wasn't aware that it was an exclusive relationship and went out and met another person in the meantime. You'd be quite offended and quite hurt, and that would be quite difficult, and you would have to perhaps end that relationship if you were upset. So there's 2 types of relationships. There's the healthy relationship and an unhealthy relationship. I'd like to just tell you about unhealthy relationships. An unhealthy relationship might relate to somebody constantly putting the other person down and making them feel uneasy, or make them lose confidence in themselves and feel silly. There could even be verbal and physical abuse in the relationship. If you're in a relationship and you don't feel ready to have sex, and the partner is constantly pushing you and encouraging you to do that, and then you feel like you're forced to do it and you're not ready, that's not a healthy relationship. It's quite important to end that relationship because respect is paramount. Maybe you'd like to go out and socialise with your friends and family and go to gatherings with other people, and your partner feels very possessive and doesn't want you to go out without them and wants you to stay at home with them. That's an indication of an unhealthy relationship. It's really important that you maintain your independence and that you feel that you can do things on your own. You don't have to be with that person constantly. Really, they are all signs of an unhealthy relationship. And if you feel that maybe those things are involved in a relationship that you have, then maybe it's time to think about stepping back from that one. Now I'll just explain a healthy relationship to you. Respect is involved. You respect each other. It's important that you have open communication with each other. Of course, sometimes there'll be arguments and disagreements and differences of opinions, but that is normal, because if we all had the same opinions about everything, we'd have boring lives and boring relationships. But if there's constant bickering and fighting, then maybe there is an issue. But of course, relationships, healthy relationships, have ups and downs. Sharing ideas and opinions is really healthy in a relationship as well. If you feel like the relationship is going quite well and you're thinking about getting married and having children and buying a house and working, and there might be a lot of stress coming up, but you can work through that, and that is actually involved with a healthy relationship as well. You can work through things together. That's a great sign of a healthy relationship. So if you're feeling maybe that you're not sure about your relationship and if it's healthy or unhealthy, we'll have more information about that down the track to help you make the right decisions. So that's really my info for you to keep in check about healthy and unhealthy relationships. The next topic I wanted to introduce is keeping a check on yourself and the different types of sexuality. You may know someone who is gay or lesbian or trans perhaps, or even bisexual. Please make sure you keep a check on the language you use to describe people. I'd like you to imagine a world where all the people in it are gay or lesbians. You might be walking around and you see two women kissing. You might see two men walking together down the street holding hands. Your auntie might be gay, or your uncle might be gay. You might have somebody approach you and say, would you like to go out on a date? And it's a woman, and I'm a woman, and you might think, okay, I'll go. I'll go and I'll have a shot. Maybe it doesn't feel right for you. And then along the way, maybe you've seen like a flyer or an advertisement, and there might be a picture of a community group. And then you might see people signing, and they'll refer to that flyer and say, oh, those people are so straight, and have a really negative connotation. It's really important that maybe if you see a straight couple, a man and a woman, holding hands or being affectionate, maybe even kissing, or you see them just together, or maybe another couple having a conversation who are the opposite sex, then maybe you felt like you connected with that relationship more than if you were in a lesbian relationship. maybe you feel like you belong to that world rather than the world you're in. And you feel like, oh, I can't behave like that because everyone in my world is gay, or, oh, and maybe you feel a little bit conflicted and you need to conceal those thoughts and keep it to yourself. Well, that's actually what it's like for many gay and lesbian people in the community now, in this real world. They want to be open and affectionate in public with their same-sex partner, but they feel a little bit maybe that they can't do that without judgment. Maybe they feel like people will look at them and feel negative thoughts. Maybe you hear people say, oh, that's so gay. You know, that's quite an offensive term. So if you see someone, maybe a friend or a family member, and they are gay, or you see someone and you think they might be gay, just keep in check and remember that your body language as a deaf person is very visual, and don't react in a negative way because that person is normal and you can really get along with anyone no matter what their sexual preference is, and it's important that that person feels comfortable with who they are no matter who they are and what their sexual preference is. So we've got this picture here, and you can see the transgender images up there. So that really means that someone is perhaps born in their wrong body. For example, I'm a woman and I don't identify as a man, but some people might. For example, if I did identify as a man, then it would be the fact that I might be transgender. And other people actually experience that, and a lot of famous people out there are becoming more public with that too. You'll see that there are gay and lesbian relationships as well. There are many different types of relationships. I think it's really important that you are honest and open with people no matter who they are. And it's important that we educate the next generation about this as well. It's important to have an open mind, and then this will become part of the next generation's thinking as well. And hopefully gay and lesbian marriage can become legal. Who knows what will happen in the future if we educate people to have an open mind and be more accepting of all people. It could be quite positive and it could be great. So really, I'm about to wrap up for the first half of my presentation, and we'll have a break in a minute. But before that, I just want to make sure that you've understood what I've talked about. It's really important to keep a check on yourself and your personal health, such as STIs, and keeping a check of that. Keep a check of your relationships and make sure that you feel like your relationship is healthy and safe. The third point, and the last point that I mentioned, was about respectful language and how you use it, and making sure that acceptance is in the front of your mind, and that it doesn't matter if somebody's gay, bisexual, lesbian, it doesn't matter. Trans, it's not important. We all love and we're all equal. So they're the 3 points I've really covered today, and I hope that's been all right for you all. Okay, thank you. We're going to have a 5-minute break. Okay, thanks.
If you're still struggling with consent, just imagine instead of initiating sex,
I don't want to go any further. And if I change my mind and I say, look, I don't want to go any further, the other person has to accept that response. Because I've changed my mind and I've said no. So I've taken away my consent. If you're out having a great time, you've had quite a few drinks, and then you start kissing someone, and then you go off with them and you get into it and you've taken your clothes off, and then all of a sudden you pass out, and the other person's trying to wake you up, but you don't seem to wake up at all. They can't keep going with you. They can't keep going with having sex with you because you've passed out. Same as if you've passed out and someone's trying to force feed you a cup of tea. That's not going to work. So if you've gone to a party and you accidentally had sex with someone on the weekend, that doesn't mean that you've given consent for them to have sex with you for the rest of the week. It could be a once-off, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you have to keep having sex with that same person over and over again. Maybe you had sex during the night and then you wake up in the morning and you're just like, whoa, I don't want any more. It's as if the other person has got a cup of tea for you and then they spill it all over you when you're not ready for it. So make sure that both people are consenting to having sex together. That is very important. You cannot enforce sex upon someone. They cannot say to you, oh, you've already got your clothes off, we may as well go through with that, because that is rape. And that's an awful thing that can happen. And it can cause issues in the future. It could really wreak havoc with your mental health. So make sure you always have consent from both you and the other person that you are thinking about having sex with. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a few resources. As you can see up on the screen, there's a few good websites that you can access. There's a phone line that you can also use. Say, for example, you're not feeling okay about your sexual health. There are a few phone numbers that you can contact. There's a Family Planning Victoria website. And when you click on that website, it can show you more information on how to access the website. As you can see up on the screen, that's the Family Planning Victoria website. You may think that website is for people who are starting to plan having a family. It's not. I guess the name doesn't really warrant what the information is about. The organisation is about information for your sexual health. If you feel like maybe it stings when you go to the toilet, maybe you've got a UTI, or you're feeling a little bit itchy down there, that's when you need to go and get everything checked out. And there's more information up on the screen that you can access as well. Now, our clinic, they have 2 different clinical sites. There's one clinic in Box Hill, and that's accessible to everyone, and there is also another clinic in the city, the Action Centre for under 25-year-olds. They provide a variety of services that you can see on the website. Now, if you're under 18, it doesn't cost anything. If you have a healthcare card, then you would have to pay $10.50 if you're over 18. And also, if you're over 15, you are eligible to have your own Medicare card. So you don't need to ask your parents to borrow the Medicare card that they have. And particularly if they start asking questions and you don't really want to talk about it with them, then you're better off getting your own Medicare card. It'll have your name on it and no one else's name on the card, just yours. Okay, so I guess that's a good idea to keep your privacy. We also have a sexual health line. And there's a phone number there as well. You can call through the relay service, but I think now there's such great technology out there. You can access a general health nurse through the website. And you can also get in contact with your local doctor, your local GP. So if you have a family doctor that you've seen over the years and you're really comfortable with them and you can talk very openly with them, then it's a really good idea that if you're feeling out of sorts or something's not quite right, maybe you need to go on the pill or talk about any sexual issues, then please make an appointment with your doctor. There's another website, Melbourne Sexual Health Centre. I'll show that to you now. This includes a fact sheet about sexually transmitted infections and about your sexual health, as you can see. And there's also a clinic there. There's an address for where the clinic is, and you can find all of that information on the website. It has the opening hours, the contact number, how you can get there. It's really, it's got a lot of information, so I really encourage all of you to check it out for yourselves. And the YAC support group is for LGBTIQ, so lesbian, gay, bi, transgender and intersex. So for people who identify as being part of those groups, there is a website that you can go to for information. There we go, it's up on the screen. So this group meet the first and third Friday of every month. And they meet in the city, so if you want some more information, check out these websites, because maybe you think there isn't any support, but there actually is. Next is Minus 18, and that's a really good resource. It's an organisation that provides support to lesbian, gay, trans and so forth, people who identify as those. And there's also parents and friends of lesbians and gay. If there's somebody who identifies as a lesbian or as a gay person and they want to tell their parents but they find it really difficult, then they can go to the parents and friends of lesbians and gays website to find out more information. And the next one is Transgender Victoria. Maybe you feel like you've been born into the wrong body and you need some more information. And as I mentioned briefly before, you can access their website to find out more information again. The Gay and Lesbian Switchboard is a really good website as well. There's also a support group that you can join on the website, so have a look and find out more. And the last two resources that we have on the screen, I was talking about healthy relationships before, and maybe you're feeling like you're not happy or something's not going right for you in your relationship. There is a hotline that you can access, or there is Lifeline as well, so you can contact either or both of those. So please have a look at all the different websites, and there's contact numbers and addresses and more information for you, so that you can feel better about who you are and make sure that you are very healthy. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you've been able to learn something new today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to say a huge thank you . I'd like to say a huge thank you, Sarah. I'm sure all of you who are watching have got a lot out of this morning or this afternoon's session. If you have any questions, please SMS or send it through the website. Sarah has to go soon, so if you have any questions, please pass them on as soon as you can. Otherwise, send them to me and I'll pass them on to Sarah for her to answer at a later stage. But thank you very much for coming. Our next presenter is Kate Frost. She will introduce her own topic for you. Hello, my name is Kate Frost. I'm involved in this program to talk about dating violence, and I'll explain a little bit more about DSVA soon. So, dating violence, what is it? It's actually a very serious offence, and it can happen from a very young age, say from 16 up until you're older. So this is when you're in a relationship and someone is willfully making you fearful, making you frightened, physically hurting you. It can happen to anybody. It can happen to anyone at any age. It can happen at the start of a relationship. Maybe you've just met and you've just started seeing each other, or it could happen at a later stage in your relationship. It could be a heterosexual relationship, a same-sex relationship, but I'd like you to bear in mind that dating violence is not appropriate. It can happen in many different ways, like physical abuse. Maybe you see someone who has quite a lot of bruises all over their bodies. Maybe it starts off as, say, a once every now and then it becomes worse and worse. Maybe one partner gets angry and they start throwing things. That's also physical abuse. Sexual abuse. If you feel like you're uncomfortable to do anything sexually with your partner. And remember, Sarah was talking about consent before. If you have not given your consent, then that means the other person is giving you sexual abuse. Maybe they're forcing you to watch explicit videos, or they're forcing you to have sex with them, which is legitimately rape. And another thing to remember is that abuse can happen at any time. It can start off as emotional abuse, which is really painful, really hurtful to the other person. It can make you feel really uneasy, make you start losing confidence in yourself. Maybe you start getting called names like bitch or slut or being belittled. That's emotional abuse as well. For the long term, it's a very serious, emotional and draining time, and it can really affect you into the future. So teenagers who experience dating violence, maybe their partner keeps sending them messages like, what are you doing? What are you up to? Where are you going? And these messages are constant. Or the person that you're dating really wants to get into a serious relationship really fast. Maybe that person is really bossy or they're very jealous. They've seen you with someone else. They try to control you. They goad you into having sex with them. They pressure you into having sex with them. Or they put sexually explicit photos of you online without your permission. They threaten to hurt you or themselves if you want to break up with them. If you leave, I'm going to kill myself. Some of the expressions that these sorts of people will say. They blame you for the abuse that they offer to you. There is no excuse for abuse. It is never okay. When someone is cruel or abusive towards you or they hurt you, maybe they're into drugs and alcohol and maybe that's why their behaviour is like this. I mean, look, it can be a contributor, but still, abuse is never okay. Maybe you feel like it's all your fault and you shouldn't have done this or that, or you shouldn't have got them angry. It's the other person. They're the ones who are hurting you, who are exploiting you. So you need to make sure when you're in a relationship that you have respect for each other. If you are experiencing some form of abuse, you can talk to someone. You can find the help to get yourself out of that situation. And the abuser can find help as well. If you're starting to fear that other person, it's serious. Love should never hurt. Maybe you haven't been on many dates. It is hard to figure out if that person is right for you or not. Maybe you haven't had a lot of experience. You're new to the dating game. It's hard to tell if you can trust a person, but there are a few pointers that you can take away with you. Maybe in the future, or you're in a relationship currently, there are a few things that you can think about as to whether or not you're in a healthy or not healthy relationship. Maybe that person is very charming, or there's somebody who wants to get in a serious relationship with you, or they harbour a lot of jealousy if you are with your other friends. They try and isolate you. They keep you away from other people, so it's just the two of you. And then if you do actually go and meet your friends, they give you a hard time for it. They never take responsibility for themselves. They always blame other people or something else. It's everybody else's fault, not theirs. And maybe they are using drugs and drinking alcohol. And they probably feel really offended if someone disagrees with them and their opinions. Maybe they've hurt animals at an early stage of their life. They've shown cruelty towards other people or animals. They call you names, bitch or slut, and they put you down. Their mood swings from positive to negative all the time. Maybe they're nice as pie to start with, and then all of a sudden they lose their temper. Look out for their body language. Maybe they get so angry that they just punch the wall or they start throwing things. If you don't want to do something, then they get you back for it. They will stop you from going off into your room or stop you from doing things that you want to do. Maybe they've been abused as a child. Or maybe they've abused your children. And maybe they've hit a previous partner. So, if you are in a situation of dating violence and you want to escape, there are many ways that you can find support. There's quite a few resources, and most of the information is about crisis centres, helplines that you can access, and the website also has a quick exit. So just say you're looking up this information and your partner comes into the same room, you don't have to worry about fiddling around with the computer to try and get rid of that website. You can just click on that quick exit button and it's gone from the screen. So please talk to friends, talk to family members, talk to your teachers, talk to somebody. Please do that if you feel like you are in a situation like this. And if you feel like you are in danger, please call 000 or call the police. You need to let them know where you are through the NRS, and it's really important that they know where you are so that they can come and protect you if needed. So make sure you ring the emergency services number 000. There are helplines for domestic violence and dating violence as well. I will put up a list of websites that you can have a look at to find out more information. And also, when you are going to talk to someone about what you're experiencing, please make sure it's somebody you trust. Your friend probably can't do much for you, but you need to find the right people to surround yourself with so that they can help you, particularly adults, if you need. Go to your GP, find nursing staff, they can offer you support. If you are injured at all, please go straight to the emergency department at the hospital and they can help you. You can contact a crisis centre. There's also rape centres. There's centres where you can find shelter and food. And you can contact an advocate. There's a woman called Deborah Swan, and we work together, and Vicdeaf have our information, our business cards. So if you want to talk to someone who can provide support to you, then you can contact either myself or Deborah at DCA, and we're more than happy to help you out. Okay, I'd just like to explain a little bit further. So Deborah Swan and myself, we have both experienced domestic violence. It is slightly different to dating violence because in dating violence you have not moved in together as yet. You are still living in separate houses. That's dating violence. So I have experienced both dating and domestic violence. And Deborah Swan has also experienced domestic violence over a number of years. So DSDVA is Deaf Survivors of Domestic Violence Australia. And we are disseminating much information to people who need it. And just to give you some stats, 1 in 3 women experience domestic or dating violence. And from that number, young deaf adults or someone with a disability are have twice the chance of being involved in a dating violence scenario. So our aim for DSDVA is to end domestic, sexual, emotional and dating violence within the deaf community by providing empowerment, education and services. So please contact us if you would like to know more. We aim to empower the community and provide services by meeting in each other's homes, and where possible, the vision for DSDVA was born from that. So if you're looking for help and you can't find any, there's many different websites, and what we're here to do is to try and solve the issue of feeling isolated and not having the support that you need. So I have a short video to show you. But first of all, let me show you the resources. And remember, if you need to shut down the website really fast, then there is that quick exit button. Okay, sorry. First of all, we'll look at the video. You can find this on YouTube if you would like to watch it again as well. This was made last year for the mental health conference that was held in Melbourne. And so this was a taster of what I experienced when I was involved in a domestic violence situation. I lost my confidence. The person that I was with wasn't good for me. And when I actually finally got out of that relationship, I felt empowered. And so hopefully this is a message to get out there to help others in a similar situation. Okay, so that video, hopefully it's made you realise that if you are in a relationship and you're experiencing dating violence, please make sure that you find someone that you can trust to support you, okay? Because it doesn't get better, it can only get worse. You can SMS us at any time, Deborah Swan or myself, if you need to contact us over any other information or advice. Please feel free to contact us whenever you need. Now there's a list of resources, some websites that you can have a look at for yourself. There's phone numbers, hotlines that you can access. And there's a lot more information on those websites. So please take the time to have a look. And remember, there's an emergency exit button if you need to get rid of that website really fast, okay? So what will happen is that particular website that you're on will disappear, and then say a Google website will come up. So it looks like you've been looking at other websites instead, if the need arises. Okay? So just remember, please SMS or get in contact with someone to help you out. Thank you very much.
Wow. I hope you all took something out of that. Please make sure that if you do have any concerns from this workshop, you do contact someone, because it's really important to feel safe at all times. And we have given all the phone numbers to your mentors and your teachers, and so you'll have all those resources. But if you wish to contact Kate or Deborah directly, you can do that as well. So we finally had some questions coming in. Someone asked me what intersex means. We have the term bi, which means two. And we use it in this sense to say man and woman. So we use bi. But intersex is a little bit more complicated than that. It might refer to transgender people or people who feel that they identify more as a female some days and more as a male in other times. Some people are actually asexual, and it feels like they don't identify with any particular gender at all. So maybe they don't have any connection or attraction at all to either sex. So hopefully I clarified that for you. But again, if you have any questions, please contact us or contact Kate and Deb directly. Okay, so it's really important that you take part in the questionnaire that I've given you and your mentors, because then it will help us improve our workshops for the future and know what to provide to you and to other people. So thank you again to our speakers, to our students, our mentors and teachers, our interpreters. Thank you very much for partaking in the workshop, and we'll see you for next week's transition workshop. Bye-bye.